Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Hello, hello. My name is Crunk Chocolate, and welcome to End of the Season Reports, part of Shades of Blues content season. We are streaming live from FanFest. Shout out to all our patronies who are watching either live or after on Patreon. We appreciate you. It's the off season, so that means we can relax a little bit on our tribalism, huh? So here I am talking football with some of my favorite people about clubs in the Premier League and Women's Super League. Today, we talk about it's an oil sibling here. Newcastle, Carabao Cup winners. I was able to watch that final when I was in England, going to City. So it was a nice vibes to be able to watch Liverpool lose in England with my mate, who's a United fan. So like we truly were able to like enjoy it together. We're just like, yeah, Liverpool suck. Eat a dick. Excuse my language a little early on, but I mean what I say. But here to talk the season, Champions League. They seem up and positive. Being able to be in Champions League means potentially hold on to Alexander Isak. It means they can hold on to Bruno G. That means they can hold on to Tonali. They're in fact, they can build onto the squad if done well. I mean, I could be lying, and my guest today could help me understand what happened last year and how next season is looking. Give it up to our friend, Fletcher.
Hi. I don't.
Hi.
I don't really have a big ups for me. I'm just kind of I exist and then I don't.
That's real.
So typically I am a Chelsea fan, but I will say there are parts of me that have some affinity for Newcastle. A big one is like a big anti Anthony Gordon. Can't stand him. Oh my God. He just you ever watch those cartoons and you see like the villain has like this really voodoo-y type like hate. That's how I feel about Anthony Gordon. Or just I see him and I'm like, nah, like you gotta go. I don't know what sport. Just do something where I don't have to see you today. But the rest of the team, the rest of the organization, they put together a nice team. And I mean, I think maybe you'd find like the craziest Jordy who would say, we're going to win the league. We're going to win. We're going to be the best coming into this year. The average fan is pretty happy with where they are. I mean, obviously you'd like to be a bit higher than fifth, maybe third, but Champions League is Champions League. And like you said, Champions League means we get more money. We get to hold on to some of our players that people are sniffing around. And I think ultimately that's probably the best part of the season for them, aside from a trophy win, obviously, first one in quite some time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, the way that this works is there are 5 categories. There's kits, manager, squad, supporters, and front office. Also, I don't know. I know you're a Chelsea fan. Why did I ask you to do this? Oh well, like you should have.
Chelsea's already covered. I know. Like I know about New. If you'd asked,
I'm not saying
like,
you don't, but
if you'd asked me about like like Ipswich, I'd say I know they're back down. That's all I know. I know they're back down.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't want to chat. Like none of the relegated teams that I got a hold of, they were like, "Do we have to talk about the season?" And I said, "Fair. That is completely fair."
I mean,
that is fair.
They feel they're sad.
Exactly.
They're
sad.
I don't
have to like relive all of that. Yeah, it's just like that. That's fair. I just wanted to ask if you wanted to have the conversation, give you the opportunity, but also completely understand, not hurt that you don't want to. All good. Oh well. 5 categories, like I said: kits, manager, supporters, squad, front office, American grading scale F through A. You can use pluses or minuses. I'm not here to tell you how to grade. In kits, we'll start there. We will do home, away, and the third kits. When it comes to their home kit, they, like most clubs, I feel like there's a specific way it needs to be. And if you venture off too far from it, it upsets the fans. So it's just the black and white stripes. I do like it feels modern because it's like bigger, bolder stripes. I enjoy that. Even like the black, the color of it, it looks like they have some like sheen. There's like, it looks like patterns and patterns of it. Like they did as much as they can with a black and white striped kit. What would you rate it?
A-. I'm a sucker for black and white striped jerseys. Like I like, to your point, you said I like how it feels classic because it's like the classic jersey, the classic kind of like Yankees pinstripe, except they made it look a little bit more modern. But like I appreciate a nice striped jersey. If I play on teams and they're like, we're starting from the bottom, it's like if I have a choice, if black's one of the colors or white's one of the colors, I'd like stripes. Some people are like, well, I don't look good. Well, then you should join a different team. I don't know what to tell you. But like, I think obviously you want to modernize the sport in many ways possible, but I think teams who have like classic looks should try to maintain as much of that as they can. Obviously you want to do something that brings in the younger fans as well. But if you have like a look, Real Madrid's all white kit, Barcelona's blue and red, Dortmund's yellow, Munich's red and blue with a little, like, you want to maintain those. Even Manchester United's red, you want to maintain those as much as you can, make it look a little bit different, but enough to where both the fans of old and new can say that is my team's kit. And I always love that. So yeah, I'll give it an A-.
Yeah, that's fair. I won't argue with that. I agree. Yeah, I like it a lot. They're away. Again, the colors, I feel like that it's kind of like past. I actually kind of like this. The Sela, which I believe is like a touristing company. This is like a nod back to an old kit of theirs. I like it. When I look at all of the 3 kits of theirs, and I'm working on almost like a hot or not kit thing for all the teams in the Premier League. And Newcastle actually kind of up there with like their scoring, because of the fact that I like all 3 of the kits, whereas there's some that I'll love one and then the other 2 are like man. And where Newcastle, they got that hot fire. So what are your thoughts on the A or the away, and what grade would you give it? Give me leading the witness.
B-, C+. And that's, as much as I like stripes, I'm not a big hoops guy on jerseys. I like hoops on socks, but like the red and blue, if it were striped, I would like it. And I understand why it's not striped, because you're home and away. In other sports, it can look similar. I know in football or soccer, they have to look jarringly different. Like, that just has to be the thing. I like the look of it enough. Something about the hoops just makes me just cringe. I don't know what it is. I have to go maybe talk to a therapist, but like,
I like it. Strong feelings.
I like hoops on socks. I just don't like hoops on kits. So socks, yeah, B-,
yes.
C+.
Get that out of here. I like it. Okay, well then we'll keep it moving to the third, where this most teams use their third kit for being adventurous and trying something crazy and wild. And I mean, I guess other than the collar is kind of like a little adventurous. It's black. There's some blue piping in it. That's nice. And then there's like this aggressive sharp on the pits black stripe. But I mean, it doesn't feel as adventurous as most teams' third kits. But I like it. It's clean. It's like a real cool office shirt. If people didn't know, and obviously if there wasn't a giant sale on it, but I'm the type where I'd rock that with some khakis and be like, this is a work outfit.
I'd give it a C plus, kind of the same as the away. Yeah, typically teams use their third jerseys. Like this is like Napoli, for example. They had like a whole year where their third jersey was just different colors of the camo kit they had, which I don't really know why they had it, but they had like 7 different versions of it. But yeah, I mean, it's not as adventurous as you'd say maybe see like from other teams. But I mean, for a team that's as storied as Newcastle for having their jerseys look almost exactly the way they used to look in like the 20s, it's adventurous enough. Yeah, that's like a teal or a ambergris looking color in it, which that just looking at their original home, it's a color I don't think you'd ever assume to see for Newcastle. But it's a nice kit. You know, it's like you said, it's got some crossover appeal. But it just is like like it's not a bad kit. Like it's not, USL Championship team Charleston had a kit last year that was a white jersey with like random yellow stains across it. Like that one is like that looks like PP. So it's not like a kit like that, but like it just is. You're just kind of like that you're wearing that, So I mean, C plus.
That was made. It exists. Okay, we're going there. It's happening. Oh man, that's great. Okay. Hold on. So that takes us to our next topic. Eddie Howe. I am on record many times not saying I don't rate Eddie Howe. What I am saying is if Newcastle want to get the heights that I want them to get, because again, they're Oil siblings, I want the best for them. I want them to be happy. They need to find something just a little bit better. Like I feel like he's comfortable. He's a nice guy. The media loves him. Blah 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 blah. But he just can't hit that mark, that upper echelon. Like, but also he just won him a Carabao Cup. So like, but also it's back and forth because yeah, it's just a Carabao Cup. But also Man City used the Carabao Cup to kind of get them used to success and believing in themselves. So he's technically doing the right steps. I guess am an Eddie Howe hater. What are your thoughts on Eddie Howe? What grade would you give him for his job this 24-25 season?
I hate to keep cross sport referencing, but that's just like how I talk every single day. I'd give him a B, solid B. His comparison to me, the Minnesota Twins used to have this manager. The Tigers had him for a little bit. Ron Gardenhire. We're like, you give him like string, a rubber ball, and like a paper clip, and you're like, turn this into a car, and somehow he'll get that thing moving. It won't be pretty, it won't be great, but it'll get it moving forward. Like he would take these, say for they had 2 stars, Joe Mauer and Morneau. Say for them, the rest of their team was like journeymen and like some people who had some up and down years. And he'd always have the Twins ready to play. Always borderline playoff, always a team where it's like maybe they're out, but they want to compete. Eddie Howe is a great example of that. I'm not saying that like Newcastle is all scrubs, but they have a lot of players who have a lot of unrealized potential and haven't really figured it out in the best ways, and even still during the season. And he somehow got that general team to their second Champions League berth in 2 years. And everyone looks at I'm sure you've had times where you like Man City's playing Newcastle. Yeah, we're going to walk over them. And you get into the game and it's like the 70th minute. And it's like, this game is way too close for no reason. Like, obviously we're outskilling them, but they're just biting down and saying, yeah, we're just going to wait. We're going to wait for the moment. That's, again, only the most fanatical Newcastle supporter thought they were going to win the league this year. Only the most who have like the kit tattoo on them themselves, where it's like, I bleed black and white. Only that guy was like, we're going to win the league. Every other fan is like, as long as we compete, get into a Champions League spot and grow from there, we're fine. And he achieved that. That's why I'm going to give him the B, because that's, you want to look for someone who can take you a step higher, like you said. But they hadn't won a domestic cup in like 70 odd years, and they beat the eventual league champions to do it, which is no small feat. It's not like a footnote. Like that's
fair.
They started most of their starters. You played against most of their A team, and you won. Props to you for that. That's not something anyone can take away from that. Obviously, it's not the FA Cup, it's not a league title, but it is a title that I don't think they were looking at, before the season started. So, yeah, B feels nice. I don't know who they could get to make that team better. I don't know, it's kind of hard with where they've kind of penned themselves, but he gets the best out of that team and those players. And I'll admit, we're going to talk about the team, but Alexander Isak, I did not rate him at all. He started working under Eddie Howe, and like he's rounding himself into like a quality forward up top. I just thought he was a tall, lanky guy that was going to flame out, and he's showing he's got some speed, he's got some power, and I'm not going to say it's all because of Eddie Howe, because obviously it's on the players themselves, but he's getting the most out of a team that I think someone like Graham Potter would have fighting for 14th.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing West Ham, like they do not look great under Potter, but everybody loves him so much. And yeah, I don't. He's a stand-up dude, seems very nice. He gets the team, he makes the most out of, like you said, what they have. So I would be very intrigued to the roster, like the people that they're tied to. And even then, the people that they're tied to, it's still just like people who may or may not reach potential. Like,
This might be their ceiling. Like you might have, it's like you buy a player in Football Manager, and it's like this guy was supposed to be 5-star player, and then you get to like age 24, and it's like he's a 78 rated, and he's going no higher, and it's like, okay, well, we're going to accept this, and we're going to do the best we can until that 78 becomes a 77, and then you're on the chopping block. So like, yeah, it's a thing where you need manager. Like I'm not saying every team wants their manager to be prime Pep Guardiola, prime Zidane with Real Madrid. You want them to be like the best. Yeah. But like some teams, even with the best people, like the team's gonna like fail. Sometimes you just need a guy who's like I hate to talk about him because he doesn't have a job anymore, but like Tom Thibodeau with like the Knicks and whoever else he's with, where it's like, yeah, he might have some star players, but his whole thing is like, we're going to grind, we're going to be in people's faces, we're going to be in their shirts, and yeah, I might not be some household name that's gonna walk up in some Gucci flip flop, but like we're gonna be here, we're gonna be doing stuff the right way, we're gonna be doing stuff the hard way, and Eddie Howe fits that. And with the team that he's assembled, like, yeah, are they gonna go put 7 past Chelsea? Probably not. But are they going to give up, like routinely give up 4 or 5 goals in it? No. And they're probably going to be fairly disciplined And yeah, that's exactly how they are. So I mean, like, yeah, I don't know who makes them better, but I know a lot of people will make them worse. So I mean, I think he's in a good spot. But to your point, if they're trying to actually make some noise in like Europe or something like that, then they need to get someone who might have a different temperament.
Yeah. Well, hey, and while we're talking about the players that can be incoming, and that means players that they have now, which takes us to the next topic. Um, their roster, they do have some really solid players, and less so at other positions, making the best out of really like a fucking Dan Byrne still doing his thing. Like how is he a fucking 6'5" right back and he's not fast? He just knows where to be. But then Tino Livramento, who Man City have like truly want, but Newcastle are saying it's a no from me, big dog. Which one?
Shouts out to
Rude.
Cobham, made in Cobham. Shouts out to
Oh,
Cobham.
nice. Oh yeah, yep. I forgot about that. Hey, Harvey Barnes, like they have again. It's just a bunch of players that Anthony Gordon, same thing. Possibly could be good. Will they get there? They show streaks, moments of like truly being a world beater. They have Alexander Isak, who obviously is a world beater, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes. Like those are truly world-class level players. And then it's the rest of the squad. What can they make with the rest of the squad? What grade would you give the roster? Yes, for this year.
B minus. Because again, like it's not like someone gave you a piece of gum and a rock and you're like defend yourself, but this roster is full of people who, if your club brought in, you'd be like, oh yeah, like I hate that I do this because it's really not fair, but whenever I see like say Chelsea buy a player and it's like, oh, they're bringing in Danny Drinkwater, I'm like, oh yeah, because we need enough English players, right? Like we need to have a limit. He's not going to play. They brought in Kieran Dewsbury Hall. I'm like, oh yeah, because they need enough. Like we must not have enough English players. Like that must be exactly what it is. If you're like, oh, Man City's bringing in Harvey Barnes, you're like, oh yeah, we need some more English play. Like you're not thinking this guy's gonna come out here and like we need to have English players rostered. I understand. Okay, well, good luck, number 24. Like I don't know, like whatever you're like. Yeah, it's the thing where you're like, all right, you're here, thanks. But their roster's full of players like that, where it's like, all right, this is your 10, and this is someone who I would want nowhere near my team. But yet, here he is putting in an 8.7 performance on the wing, and now I look stupid. So, I mean, your attack is led with Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, Joe Willock, Callum Wilson, who I'm still surprised is like able to produce at this level because
he's a broken man.
It's like these are players that like I might have maybe wanted them at one point. We do not. They took Joe Linton, who was supposed to be brought in as this big time like forward who just could not find the net, and they're like, you're gonna play center mid, and all of a sudden he's like a revamped player.
I know, right?
But even still, like that's the point that I'm trying to make is like it's not a bad roster. Like this roster obviously is good enough to finish 5th in this league, but like are they going to finish 5th again like with this roster? Like can you expect like United not to be as bad? You expect City to be in the top 4, Liverpool, and there's always like a team that's like an outlier where you're like, all right, well maybe not, but it's never a team where it's like, yeah, why are they good? Like, why? I see them on the field. I see what they're doing. Why is it working? I saw a stat that was insane. It was a player A, player B thing. And it was like player A has this many goals, this many whatever, this. Player B has this and this and this. And you know who the players compared were?
Who?
With very similar numbers? Lamine Yamal and Jacob Murphy. And I was like, huh? And it's like, yeah, they have around the same number of league goals and assists. Okay, like,
Is
what does
Jacob
that
Murphy
mean?
good?
Does that mean that like he's a star? And like I don't. It broke my brain. Like it's still breaking my brain. Where I'm like, these aren't good numbers. Like I understand for like say Barcelona or something where you albeit are the star, but you're hyper focused on. Sure, no one's hyper focusing on Jacob Murphy. So it's like I don't get it, but yet he could be your starting right winger for almost any game. And you turn on the TV and like, look, what's he doing? Clutch goal, clutch assist. Now I look stupid. So like, yeah, I think B minus is a safe grade for them because they ended the year well enough, albeit obviously you kind of don't really want to back into a Champions League spot. But I mean, backing into a Champions League spot is better than backing into, a Europa League or a Conference League or like not in Europe at all. So it's just they have a roster full of people that would not scare like my favorite team. Like they have some players that obviously, in a vacuum are good. But like if we can just double one of them, like yeah, no one scares me. I'd be a game where if they lost, I would be frustrated because it's like we know exactly where they're going. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, we cannot stop them. So yeah, B minus feels pretty solid.
Yeah, that long ball to Isaac. That man he's faster than anyone ever expects, much stronger than anyone expects. He's just long and lanky, just that wiry strength. I really do. I'm a big fan of him.
Sentient pipe cleaner, but he figures it out. So
Oh man. Okay, well we'll move to the next topic. Okay, so the front office. Yes, they are Saudi owned, so in theory they have all the money in the world, but we know FFP makes things difficult. They couldn't spend much money in the winter because it appeared that they weren't even going to make European football, which that's a huge loss of money, and then they knew that they would have to be losing some players. Now that it is the summer, they're in Champions League, I will be interested in what they do because, again, it's what we were talking about. They're talking. This is all alleged, reportedly, et cetera, et cetera. They want to re-sign Callum Wilson. I do not think that's a good idea. Like, bro's just getting paid to be injured on the bench. That's nice. I mean, again, unless you just want a veteran presence, whatever.
he provides that. Like he's good at just being the old guy there to like tell you like to stay in the game and offer other old man adages. But like if Isak gets hurt, that's really who you want up there.
I know.
And like it's really who you want to put up there. Is that like there are many better players, probably for a bit less, that they could get from someone else who definitely don't want to be at the team that they're at. But hey, yeah. It's not my money. It's not my locker room. If that's right. What they think is going to help, then okay.
Right, I'm happy for him. And then other players that they're tied to is João Pedro, Anthony Elanga. You mentioned this is Lloyd Kelly, and then James Trafford. I would actually be really upset about the James Trafford acquisition. He's part of City's football academy. He's a really good player. He wanted first team play, but we have Ederson's and we had Ortega. Had to let him go. He's gone and done his thing at Burnley. And he has earned, and he's still like 22, I think, 22, 23, very young, and he could end up at Newcastle doing some really great things, amazing distributing the ball. He's a really good shot stopper as well. Like he would be a huge upgrade to Nick Pope. That's the move that I hate the most. All the other ones, Anthony Elanga, like João Pedro, Lloyd Kelly,
yeah.
Like none of it moves me. It's mid-level players that. I mean, technically, Anthony Alega, he's like 24, 25 now, so he's kind of past the part where potential, like he is who he is.
It's you are who you are now.
Yeah, João Pedro, same thing. James Trafford is really the only person who can become a much better player and figure out, because he has the potential to be England's future national team goalkeeper. Like that is basically how he's being talked about. What are your thoughts? What's your grade for Newcastle's front office for the 24?
So the front office is a part of the team as well, obviously. So when the team wins and makes places and gets cups, they are included in that as well. So that affects my grade a little bit. But I would give them like a D. And the reason why is I know they couldn't bring in much, but everyone they brought in like did not really contribute to this season at all. So at that point, what are you bringing them in for? Like they brought in Lewis Hall from Chelsea, played in a few games. They brought in William Osula, played in a few games. They brought in Midrag Pivas, did not play. Odysseus, I'm gonna butcher his name, but they brought him in from Nottingham Forest. Obviously, he didn't really play much at keep, but like you brought in these players to help and contribute, and a part of the front office is managing the players you have. A part is getting rid of players. A part is bringing in players. And if you think your team is as complete, that's totally fine. But like, I think they probably had, like, I know when Chelsea sent Lewis Hall to Newcastle on loan, they're like, if you play him X amount of games, you guys have to buy him.
Yeah.
And they hit that threshold very quickly where they're like, oh, yeah, this is our guy. And it's like, all right, cool. You obviously want him. I was a little sad about it. I thought Lewis Hall had some potential in the wing, moving him from midfielder to left back, going more to the attacking style of today's game. For sure. That's great. And then he plays like almost the same number of games. Like, did you not really want him? Like, what happened? What changed in this? These players you brought in, obviously, again, they're not. If you bring in a player, you're not going to get Erling Haaland. When you bring him in, and it's like, boom, new player, 495. Like, yeah, you're not going to get that many goals or return from someone almost immediately. That's just not what you're going to get. But you expect these people to come in and like really contribute more than say 14 games in a season, especially a season where like you had extra cups for sure, but you didn't have like the extra stress of like Europe and traveling, and yet you still can't space out game like that's. So obviously they still won what they had. You know, I'll be better, D+, because they did win. They did make a Champions League spot. They did win a cup. So obviously those things are positive. It means the last year that you had, you built well enough for this year. But if you're asking me about just from 23-24 to 24-25, yeah, I can't give you like a higher grade than that, because I'm not going to say they sucked, but like the players you brought in like did not. There wasn't a negative impact. They just didn't positively impact the thing. So I can't give you credit for you just spent money to spend money at that point. You know, I can't really give you props for that, because you could have just not spent that money and then had it. So, yeah, a D+. D+ is fair.
No, very, especially looking at the players that they made moves for. Again, it's just you're hoping for the best, and I know you need to like supplement your lineup and get players that are affordable and loans and things like that, but yeah, they did not set Eddie Howe up for success. And
like if they brought in those players, and they were like, you're not going to play. Like, I know Chelsea brought in a bunch of youngsters, and it's like some of you are going to play a lot. Some of you are going to play a little. Some of you are going to play with the youth team or get loaned out, for sure. But, like, the ones that play a little, it's like you're going to contribute, stay hot, stay ready. You brought in 2 players to stay hot and stay ready, and they put up goose eggs the entire, like, what are we doing? Like what's up? What's up? Like I don't understand that. And I mean, loan them out, sure, like that helps as well. But you brought in these players with like the idea that they're going to contribute now. And it's one thing again, like obviously they are a big club. I'm not going to say they're not a big club, but they're not at the level, say, financially currently of like, say, Chelsea or Man City or to a degree, well, maybe not Liverpool because they have the money, but not. But the point being is like, you can't bring in, if you bring in like 10, 11, 12 people per se, and half of them contribute and the other half are like, you're just loan fodder / backups. Sure. But if you bring in 7 players and the highest contributor has 17 caps on the season, you failed. Like you failed in your contribution to your team. Yep. You did not help your team get better. You gave Chelsea $28 million for a player that you didn't want to play. So thanks. They weren't gonna play him, obviously, but like, so now you aren't either, and now you're $28 million lesser. So I can't really give you props for that because you didn't really help your roster, but you finished 5th, so clearly your roster was okay. That's fine. But if you can't work those players in there, then I can't really, you could have just not bought any of them. Put that money back into players who are already there, give them bigger contracts. I don't know, build a statue or something. But like, you could have done many other things than spend it on these players who just did not help. And they have way more money than I will ever. So like, obviously they know what they're doing to a degree, but I think they missed the mark here. So yeah, D+, I think. Yeah, that's my final rating. I think about it like 4 or 5 times. D+ is like, I'm locking it in.
Hey, I like it, and it's locked in. Okay, well, shoot, this was nice, and little chats, little bants about Newcastle. Please plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you and the things that you're doing. Maybe something you're up to at the moment.
My dog wanted to say hello, apparently. As stated, my name is Fletcher. I do some big J journalism for the Daily Detroit. Stickers. Which is a show, what to know and where to go in the city of Detroit, of Metro Detroit. So not just Detroit, but say Royal Oak, Ferndale, Birmingham, whatever your suburb that's not. Apparently Ann Arbor's included, although it's an hour away. I'm not really sure. But as long as you're not like super far, we will be talking about stuff that matters to you. Yeah, and probably find me on social media at Saint FDW on almost anything. Just saying stuff that no one really needs to read. So, you know,
that's the best part about social media, though.
Yeah, I was much smarter when I did not know what Tyler the Creator is doing day to day, because like sometimes we just don't need to know that about people we like. We just
yep. Specifically, I've stepped so far away from like there are very few like musicians I like and things like that I follow on social media. Like nope.
End up liking a musician, it's like I don't want to know. I won't, because if I go and look and you say some wild stuff, I'll hear this song and immediately just feel sad. And it used to make me feel happy. So, you know, I'm good. Just exist in your vacuum. And unless you do something really egregious I need to know about, I don't want to know.
Don't care what you're up to. As long as you're not hurting, maiming, mutilating, all of those things, negative things, live your life. Go be rich and spoiled and insult fans the way that you want. Like, that's fine. I don't care. Just make good music, bro.
Just next track. Like keep putting hits out. Keep putting those hits out as long as you're not hurting anybody. And like I don't care. But once you do that, then we gotta chat. But like I don't want to have it be like I like the Strokes, and it's like, well, Julian Casablancas really loves ranch. All right, bro. Like I guess I don't like the Strokes. Like I don't know. Like you put me in a weird spot. I found this out about you, and it makes me uncomfortable. So just don't. And if you really love ranch, don't come around me, please.
Oh, wow. Hot take. Anti-ranch over here.
I live in the Midwest and I don't like ranch, and I'm fairly certain it's gonna get me probably my house egged at one point, and that's fair, I guess.
Yeah, no, as another person who lives in the Midwest, I can very much vouch that ranch is almost a character trait for certain people. Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, let's see. Who do we got coming on next week to talk? We got Liverpool, we got Brighton, we got Man United women, we got Brentford, Crystal Palace, and hey, we have Man United men and women next week. So plenty for you all. I'm Crump Chocolate, and until then, you know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady.